And yo, yes, it's the Sports Bag Bros podcast on a Thursday. Yes, 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday. We're going to talk some sports. Typically, we go around the gambit when it comes about the sports business. We don't stick to just one topic every now and then. We do, or we may go on long with one topic because it may deserve it. Like last Monday, talking about Shaduer Sanders and how his preseason debut went, and other quarterbacks that played as rookies and just players overall. It's getting to that point in time. And I saw a list today from the Score app. They talked about a plethora of players who may be in danger of losing their spot for what reason or another. We don't know just yet, but what's up?
What's up? Um, Speaking of losing their spot, that tramp that Travis Hunter married, fuck her.
That's and I hate that for him. We don't know the
I know.
entire story yet, but I hate that for him because you know what? Typically, I tell people, mind your business. You don't know what's going on in social media. Makes people think that everything is legit, even if it's not legit. People rather be first and make a meme than be right and just take it for what it is. But man, if this is true, if it's more true than not, it's just a bad situation. But the other good part is, regardless of if he has a prenup or not, he probably isn't going to lose much because the marriage hasn't even been a couple of months, well, several months.
Right.
I know in Florida it's not etched in stone how long you have to be married, but I think any judge worth its salt, even a female judge, which typically goes on the woman's side, would look at that and see it as a cash grab that it is. Probably give her the minimum amount to keep her quiet and just move
You
on.
would think, man, but a lot of things seem common sense, and it still doesn't work out
And
like it
that's
should.
true. Yeah,
So good luck to Travis Hunter. Um,
God. I
it's
hope
too
that's just
bad.
gossip. Did he speak on it yet? Because I'm here
I
in
don't know.
Jacksonville.
I saw that she's asking for 40 million.
40 million, man.
It's
I
like
heard that part.
that's his whole contract, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. You know what? You hadn't even gotten out of preseason yet. You haven't even gotten a game check. But here I am. I want my money now. And it's like she just waited to the last second. And if it is true, this will be one of the biggest busts of all time. Not even playing wise, just life wise. It happened too damn quick. Everyone on the outside was saying a lot of the same things about don't marry her. You see what kind of woman she is. You saw what she did. She goes to a party. You hang out outside, and she's probably getting smashed while she's in there. She's gonna tell you a different story. But damn, man, and it seems like he's such a nice dude. And to even go further, not just football and every story you get from him is just about a young, wholesome dude. Likes to go fishing. Doesn't have a big laundry list of nonsense that he likes. That's agitating. He just likes basic stuff. And then now his final grade came out, 3.9 GPA. His last report card at Colorado. I heard about his academics anyway. But right now, as leaving college with that kind of a GPA, it lets you know he takes care of business on the field and off the field. But this is a dumb decision, according to most, and it may be realistic when it all comes down to pipeline, if any of this is true. Damn.
I mean, it just reminds me that common phrase can't turn a hoe into a housewife,
And
man.
that's the damn truth. But damn, in today's social media, because it became a big story because of social media and because of who he is, and if you have any kind of influence, you're going to just have eyeballs on you, football in particular, and then her characters especially. She likes that limelight as well. You just hope that it's just not as true as it seems because, like I said, some of these people would rather be first and make the meme and get clout because of it than be right, and then things are not necessarily happily ever after, but they're not as bad as they're making it seem. But it looks like it's probably sliding towards the side of being as bad as it might just end up being. I just hope and
I
wish it
just
wasn't
hope
him.
she doesn't find another sucker either in the NFL or NBA or MLB or even hockey or soccer, man. Fuck that
And
bitch.
she's gonna change sports, and that's the problem because you do have these women out there who target these athletes because of the money. There's really no other reason, and they just bounce from guy to guy. Then they get themselves a piece of crap show on some network, the Housewives of Losers and that kind of thing, and that's how they make their living. They don't want to be looked at that way, but that's what they are. Why don't she just end up getting one of these OnlyFans channels? Get one of those subscriptions, do something, and get money that way. But it's easy for her to do whatever the hell she's doing right now, trying to get it from him.
Speaking of that, I saw there's some chick claiming she's getting 43 million from OnlyFans.
Whoa. I'm not surprised.
She's like, I get paid more than famous sports athletes and this and that. I'm like, because there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there
Oh,
giving them
absolutely, a
money.
lot of them. They'll say that nonsense on the internet. They'll go to these manosphere spaces, these red pill spaces, acting like they're manning up, but behind closed doors, they have their Visa and MasterCard ready. and for some chick out there, I don't even keep up with this. The only reason why I even know about it is because it became a news story. That Lil Tay chick that just came up, that dudes must have been keeping up with her since she was like 12 years old, because I hear she's on social media forever, flexing with her parents' money. On her 18th birthday, she made $1 million in 4 hours with dudes waiting for her to turn 18, so now they can think that she's legal, which she is. But it shows you they've been thirsting since she's been a kid doing this on social media. That's
crazy.
The type of dudes we have in this society. It's insane, but it's an absolute.
I can understand, dudes' desires and stuff, but you can find it for free. I'm sure you can find pictures for free. Why are you gonna pay for? I don't get it, man.
The commitment.
That's never something I never understand.
It just blows my mind with this chick in particular, this Lil Tay or Lil Tay, whatever she calls herself, getting $1 million plus in just 4 hours because dudes just kept up with her, probably kept their mouth closed or used pseudonyms as they were just, probably responding to her in the past, acting like they're not who they are. Better be glad Chris Hansen didn't show up on them. But then now when she turns 18 on her 18th birthday, they now come out of the woodwork. They putting their money up there. They're unabashed about what they're doing. And there it goes. And then she comes on and talking about, see, I did this, I did that. And she sounds as ghetto and trash as you could ever sound. But let's see where this leads, because she likes being public. So wherever it does lead, it will be public just as well. But anyway, back to
let's reel it into sports.
Man. Yeah, let's reel that joint into sports, talking about this trash, going way off topic. And the worst part about it, there are more people interested in that thing than even about preseason football these days. But there's a little list they had on. There's a number of players on this list. I'm not going to go down all the players, but the top player they had on here was Kenny Pickett. I mean, I guess it's not in any particular order. I guess more of a name.
I don't know if you can say top player and Kenny Pickett in the same sentence.
The top one looking to get the hell out of Dodge because there's such a big quarterback room. Deshaun Watson isn't playing this year. That's pretty obvious. They're still going to just pay this guy for existing. And Kenny Pickett just didn't live up to expectations. I thought there would be more from him coming out of Pittsburgh and everything would go well. And it obviously didn't, getting chosen by Pittsburgh, first round draft pick. Dude's bounced around now. Now he's in Cleveland. And then, now you have Shadeur there doing what he's doing. He's not playing this Saturday or Sunday, whenever the hell they play next. He's not playing because of the oblique injury. And Gabriel now coming in as well as a third-round draft pick from Oregon. So now you have all of these guys, and then Joe Flacco, all of these guys in the quarterback room. Someone has to go. And according to this list, Kenny Pickett looks like the odd man out. He's the quietest one. I guess he and Gabriel, but he's the odd man out.
That makes sense. I don't know if he's ever going to live up to expectations.
Doesn't look like it.
No. So, I mean, if he can't beat out two rookies, a 40-year-old dude, and the guy who's not going to play.
Not for real. Well, at least in Deshaun Watson's case, it's not like they can get rid of him. They gave him too much money. It's all guaranteed.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, look at his competition.
Yeah.
Flacco, they brought off the street. Gabriel and Sanders are rookies. And then Deshaun Watson has his drama.
Yeah,
he still can't win the job.
So I was expecting more from him, like I said, but he's not going to do it. He didn't do it for Pittsburgh. He didn't do it for Philly. He wasn't going to do it for Philly. He's certainly not going to do it here in Cleveland because he might not get the opportunity. This is just opinions on who needs to leave, and it still makes sense that he should be the one to leave based on everything else they've had. They've invested a third-round draft pick, a fifth-round draft pick you can throw away. But if Shadeur is looking like that upside-wise, which he should, because he was still in playing-wise a late first-round, second-round pick, in my opinion. Some people think even earlier. So it's not even the talent. He has the talent. It's just that people didn't like the attitude and blah, blah, blah. So he's going to be there. I think he's going to be there. I heard even rumors last week or 2 weeks ago they should ship Shadeur to the Jets And I'm like, bro, we don't need that circus here. You know, New York is big enough already. We don't need him in New York being bigger than New York or trying to be on the JV of the New York. I'm a Jets fan, but I know that the Giants run football in New York. The Jets are just the Jets. But anyways, I just see, Cleveland really just has a mess at the quarterback spot. And Kenny Pickett is not going to be anything on that team, so he might as well go. The second player I'll talk about, because there is a list, they didn't number them, so I guess they just have them. Travis Etienne, running back for the Jaguars. Tank Bigsby is the guy that he's competing with most because they're both veterans. They brought in Bashul Tutin from Virginia Tech. Very good running back. I mean, nothing extremely special, but very good, consistent running back, at least for Virginia Tech. Runs low to the ground. So now Etienne, looking at what he did last year, 17 games, no one really plays that as a running back because they split time so much now, except if you're Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. But Travis Etienne averaged less than 4 yards a carry last season, one of the few running backs in all the NFL to do that.
So it would probably be something if he gets picked up by the Chiefs, and he'll probably run for 1,500 yards.
And you know what? I can see that happening because when he was at Clemson with Trevor Lawrence, he came out drafted in the first round as well. And he got injured. I think it was an Achilles that he hurt. And he wore Achilles. He was out for the season. So his rookie year, he didn't have it. He came back in his official rookie year, first unofficial rookie, I guess if it's his second year. And he caught well out of the backfield. He was over 4 yards a carry. He was fairly explosive. I remember him at Clemson being explosive, but I thought it was more bad ACC competition and playing bad teams when they were the obvious juggernaut, more so than him just being that individual really good player. I thought he was a good player, but not anything. I think his brother actually has more to his game than he does. But catch out of the backfield.
You could be onto something there. He was outperforming his competition, and now he may not really be up to that level.
And it looks like it, and the numbers are just going down. Before it was the fumble issues. Then he gets over the fumble issues, and then he became a bit consistent. And then now with Tank Bigsby there, his yards per carry is going down. He still catches out of the backfield, doesn't fumble as much, but his value you can see week to week. He's not getting the ball as much. Tank Bigsby, when he gets in there, you see the obvious difference. I mean, what are these coaches supposed to look for? They see it in practice, and it's played out in games, preseason games now, and it's a lot of the same. So I can see why they look at him that way as far, looking to get him out of there. And another player that was on that list, not really a player that gets a lot of playing time, but he's a notable name, Taysom Hill for New Orleans, the quarterback / wide receiver. They called him the Swiss Army knife a few years back. I guess it must have been a whole lot of years back because now they're talking about him being 35 years old going into this season. I didn't know he was that damn old. They thought at one point someone thought he was the future at quarterback for New Orleans. I thought that he had an opportunity if given the time, but obviously not. He couldn't beat out Jameis Winston. He obviously isn't the guy. Tight end. That's what he is.
I'm not even sure he deserves mention.
Taysom Hill. I mean, considering the Swiss Army knife, just living in the moment when he did come along and they just couldn't find a position for him. He did play quarterback, I think, at BYU. And he's a damn good athlete, but now he's 35 years old, coming off of an ACL. Never good, not even for young guys, let alone a 35-year-old. So, I mean, just a name to throw out there. Kellen Moore is the new coach there in New Orleans.
Way out there.
Yes. Just throwaway, man. That's what he is. And then another one of those players, the Giants, you have Devin Singleton. I think he was with the Buffalo Bills, then down in the Texans, and now he's with the Giants. Not doing any. I never really thought he was a special back, but you don't have to be special. Just be consistent and don't get injured a lot. If you can just go over 4 yards of carry, don't fumble the ball, you should be pretty good until something better comes along. And he's been that placeholder kind of running back for years. And the Giants, I think Cam Scatebo from Arizona State, he's the guy the Giants fans are salivating over, even though, he's been a little bit injured, didn't play in the preseason game. They love the way he runs the ball. I watched him in college. He does run hard. That guy's a tough runner. My only problem with him was he didn't find the end zone on some occasions they played against Mississippi State. He had over 200 plus yards. He had 200 plus yards and didn't get into the end zone against a horrible Mississippi State team. But in terms of being brutal, they talk about John Riggins. They talk about Larry Zonka. That's the type of runner they claim he is.
I might have to check him out to see if the talk is accurate or not, because those are some bruisers right there, some all-time bruisers.
Exactly. So anytime you have a bruiser, especially in today's age and with a little less physicality in the NFL than it was back then, only because of rule changes, the dudes aren't less tough. It's just that they have to play within those rules. And I mean, I've watched him in college. Now, even though he didn't get those touchdowns I thought he should have gotten, he wears down a defense and he looks for trouble. He's one of those running backs who looks for trouble. He runs with an attitude. He has the power to do it. He runs low and he's stocky as hell. He hurts people. He's the type of guy, like Derrick Henry, after a while, you don't want to see him anymore. In the fourth quarter, if he's getting momentum, you just don't want to see him anymore, especially guys in the secondary. But anyway, those are the guys I'll just point out now. But now we're going into a second week, I guess third week when you include the Hall of Fame game of NFL football. Still preseason, but there's some those storylines alone is the reason why to talk about preseason football at all. And last week it was Shadeur. This week it is again Shadeur, only because of the oblique, so he will not be playing. So now does Dylan Gabriel get in there? And if he does well, are they giving him a gold jacket on Monday? I don't know.
What about Jerry Jones stepping down as GM of the Cowboys?
You know what? Man, people can have their personal feelings about him. He's still legendary for better or worse. And
not as a GM.
No, not as a GM. I'm saying just as a figure, as a personality in the NFL. Just as a personality in the NFL, he's just legendary.
Talking about him stepping down.
Yeah, stepping down because I think
it's a lot of years too late. He probably should have never been the GM.
Does he? He has cancer or something?
Does he?
That's what I heard.
Oh, I don't know.
Let me look it up.
He's turning it over to his son.
Should have done that like 20 years ago, right? His ego is always going to get the best of him.
The GM spot,
man, and
I don't know how involved in football his son has been. So
I think he's actually has given some reins to his son in the past. He's allowed him to help make decisions instead of him just being the end all be all with decisions. Period. Not taking any outside, at least not as much outside influence as he should have taken. So his son had some influence with the picks, and so did other guys.
He has his feet wet already.
Yeah, he has his feet wet.
You can say he's contributed to the mediocrity.
Hold on, let me see if I can find this dude. Oh, yeah, stage 4. I knew there's something about cancer. I didn't. Stage 4 cancer. I just don't know it. He said details on overcoming stage 4 cancer. So, but anyway, he's getting older, and when you're older, you're more susceptible to those things. Even young people these days, I don't know, the environment is just made for that cancer damn thing. But he's stepping aside.
How many owners' sons have been successful?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't name too many owners' sons.
Al Davis' son hasn't been doing.
Oh no, he hasn't. But you know what?
Vegas now.
But they weren't doing much when Al Davis was there in the latter part of his life. They weren't doing much at all. The Raiders,
at least he had some glory days.
Oh, he definitely had glory days. But I know they just stopped talking about how the Raiders were the winningest franchise in the past several years. They haven't said that in years now.
Yeah, but
because they haven't been winning.
Oakland did have a trophy case.
He absolutely did. And I don't think his son is going to do anything different. And going back to last week, Ashton Genty, the runner-up in the Heisman Trophy candidacy last year, minus 2 or 3 yards on a handful of carries. Man, they didn't have anything for him. And I was hoping that wouldn't be the case because I think he is a special back. The last guy I thought was special that didn't work out was Melvin Gordon. But I think Ashton Genty is completely different than Melvin Gordon. And, the Raiders, whether Las Vegas, whether Los Angeles, whether Oakland, there is no shortage of them ruining running back's career. Darren McFadden, in my opinion, was the running back they just ruined. I mean, I thought he should have been so much better, and they didn't block well. I mean, you just weren't good at blocking for him. I don't know what the hell the deal is with these running backs. But, Jacobs actually led the league in rushing just a couple of years ago coming from them. But just like Maurice Jones-Drew playing well for a bad team. People forget about it. And then he leaves. He leaves. He says, yo, I don't want to be here because they want him to take a pay cut, first of all. And I remember him saying, I don't want to take a pay cut and continue losing. And he left. Hey, that's common sense.
So as far as Genty goes, obviously it's too early to call him a bust. But I'm not sure. I never saw him as a dynamic running back, game breaker type anyway.
I watched him the last 2 seasons, and I thought he was, but I was still saying Boise State, even though college football isn't what it used to be. I thought it was Boise State, big fish, small pond. Boise State is not necessarily big fish, small pond anymore. And college football for smaller schools isn't like that too much anymore when Vanderbilt's beating Alabama. So I don't know, but just looking at it, when he was
like when I saw Eric Dickerson at SMU, like he looked special.
Oh yeah.
When I watched Marshall Faulk at San Diego State, he looked special. There's some guys
initially did he look special?
And you think they're special? Yeah. Oh, I always thought Marshall was special.
Oh no, and talent wise, I had an idea, but I was always remember he played in San Diego State in the WAC when all of those Swiss cheese defenses. So he was killing those defenses. I was like, bro, he beat Pacific. Pacific was awful, absolutely awful. They don't even have a football team anymore. But then he played Miami and he ran on them for like 150 something. Y'all, yo, bro, this dude's the truth now. So it took me a little time to catch up with Marshall Faulk being legitimate because I said he was doing it against bad teams, which he was. But when he did it against that Canes team, that was actually pretty damn good defensively. He ran through them again for more. Yeah, this dude's legit.
But my point is, I never saw a special when I watched Genty. So
on the other side,
I'm not gonna say he's gonna be a bust or he's gonna be below average. I just don't think we're gonna be talking about him as being the best back in the league while he's playing.
On the other side, I think I saw him being special. And then doing some comparisons, I still thought that he was special. I saw him run, against teams that were pretty average. But then when he ran against Oregon and put up a lot of the same numbers, did to him what he did to other teams, and they were a little early in the season. I was this
Oregon would win games 49-35. I mean, it's not like their defense was tough.
Yeah, but at least against them, they were tougher. I mean, this past season, Oregon's defense wasn't that bad. And I think, and especially when you look at what Boise State is now compared to what they were years ago when Kellen Moore was the actual quarterback there, when they had those really damn good teams, they were just hidden. But now, I thought talent-wise, just looking at him, just seeing how the speed, the legitimate breakaway speed. I look at him the same way, not the same way, but kind of a little bit like I looked at Garrison Hurst when he was at Georgia. And he would run the ball and you would get him, but after you got him, he had 5, 6, 7 yards. But then he broke that big one, 50 yards, and you just saw him pull away. And then he's like, damn, that guy is special. And if it weren't for the Arizona Cardinals, he would have continued being special. But he did go to San Francisco, and he was still a damn good back there.
He had some good
years there. And then, there's running backs that you could point out in college, and you could say that guy's special, and it translated. I can't still to this day believe there were people out there who did not think Barry Sanders was legitimate. They didn't think he was legitimate. I wonder, should he be an early first-round draft pick? That was the talk back in 1989 when he came out. And then we wonder about his speed. He ran a 4.28 one time and then ran a legitimate 4.38. And they had a picture of him in the newspaper, at least in New York, the New York Daily News. And I'm like, what is it? That's the big 8 back then. So what is it you got to see? That's when Oklahoma and Nebraska was running things. And he was still doing it, even against them. And so I don't know what the heck they were looking at or what. I don't know why they were taking it away from him, probably because they thought he was a one-year wonder.
I don't know. I don't remember hearing any of that talk. I just know he went high in the draft and the rest is history.
To the draft, they were saying that kind of thing. And now you see stories about Wayne Font saying, yeah, if he's there, we're taking him. Because also remember, it was Tony Manders getting even more props than Troy Aikman coming out. Troy Aikman just happens to be a quarterback, and that's always going to be your linchpin keystone position. So the Dallas Cowboys needed one badly, and he was there. So, yeah, you'd rather start your franchise over with the quarterback instead of the offensive lineman, even though you can start with an offensive lineman, but not number one overall most times. Tony Baselli was another one of those life-changing offensive linemen that went early, that lived up to expectations for that short period of time. But I remember them talking about Barry Sanders. We wonder, I guess, look at the numbers, but what? But anyways,
I don't know.
What other special backs have you seen?
Being a Nebraska fan, I saw a lot of Barry Sanders, and I was convinced.
Oh, I mean, see, the deal in New York, we didn't get a chance to see him often at all. I think they had some type of penalty that year that he was there. I know we didn't get a chance to see him in New York too often at all. I was still in high school, and what would happen in New York, they play high school football on Saturday mornings. So our games are like 11 o'clock and things like that in the morning, at least back then. I don't know how things might have changed now. And what would happen is we would get back, when I got back from football games, and I would watch, and they'll break it, and Barry Sanders would be on the highlights. I was like, man, that dude's good. That dude's really good. And one time I know the news came on, or the break came on, but he might not get 200 yards today. And he had like 100 or whatever. And then it came back like 5 minutes later. He just broke like a 70, 80 yarder. So I guess he's going to have his 200 yards a day. Now he's creeping up to 300. So he was crazy. I mean, he had that tour de force where he had 1,500 plus yards in just 5 games? 5 games. I think they called it a tour de force. But anyways, yeah, special backs. Because look, Herschel Walker was a special back, but his career wasn't what you thought it might have been in the NFL. But when you look at it cumulatively, being in the playing with the New York Jersey Generals,
he definitely underperformed, because coming out of college, I mean, you thought he'd have a career that rivaled Jim Brown.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? In the USFL, he did have those kinds of yards.
Yeah, that's the minor leagues.
Exactly. It's the minor leagues. But as much as they were trying to compete, and there were some players that came out of the USFL, like Steve Young, like Reggie White, like Bart Oates, the offensive lineman who ended up going to the Giants. So they had some quality players that come out of there, but they were sprinkled about.
Yeah, some guys were very good, but as far as overall talent, league,
and you know what? And he did play that one season well, over 1,500 yards with the Dallas Cowboys when he did play there before they traded him to Minnesota with that blockbuster deal. So he did get some talent, and the only one who could toss Lawrence freaking Taylor in Tecmo Bowl. Still, I can't get it to this day. The only dude that could throw Lawrence Taylor. I'm like, what's going on? Kevin Mack can't do it, but he can. But yeah. So Lawrence, I mean, still, I think as a consensus, the best running back of all time in college. At least a lot of people say that Herschel Walker was probably the best. I mean, as a freshman, true freshman coming in, playing as well as he did, Heisman Trophy candidate in his true freshman year, when everybody pretty much stayed.
Archie got 2 Heismans, though.
You know what? And there's people who say that Archie shouldn't have gotten the second one. In fact, they say he shouldn't. He did better getting the second one than the first one. He didn't deserve.
A whole lot of people shouldn't have got their one, but he got.
You know what? Gino Toretta, yeah, we know that.
Eddie George.
Eddie, well, yeah, wasn't Tommy Frazier up that year too for Eddie George?
Tommy Frazier came in second.
I know I watched Eddie George play some hell of fire football, man. He played for that dominant Ohio State team. At one time, they had Corey Stringer and Orlando Pace bookends on our offensive line. He just had it, and they still couldn't beat Michigan. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, but Eddie George, I can't cry too much about it, but Tommy Frazier was just on another level. I don't know why he didn't win a Heisman. I think you mentioned that he wasn't well liked by people. I didn't know that.
Well, I can't say people.
I mean, by his teammates, right?
Yeah. His teammates didn't pick him as one of their captains. Like Tommy was a no-nonsense guy.
I can see.
If guys didn't line up properly, if a dude missed a block, he was a coach on the field. He let him know about it. And a lot of people took offense to that. He was abrasive. But it was all in the effort to get everybody in line and win back-to-back championships.
And that's exactly what they did.
He did his job.
And to this day, was it the 95 Nebraska team that's still among one of the greatest? And there's an argument that they might, along with the 2001 Miami Hurricanes and even the USC team, the Texas team, they're kind of all lumped together as one of the best teams of all time. And that was
because they won every game by double digits. Their closest victory was 14 points, I think. And they beat the shit out of Steve Spurrier and the Gators in the championship.
I remember that. I thought Florida boys like, yo, bro, I heard all the talk. I seen all the nonsense. I was like, Florida's going to handle this, man. But when Tommy Frazier broke all those damn tackles and left them, and they both raced them, period. I think even Florida took them so lightly because I remember during the interviews, they was kind of dismissing them and kind of having their own little jokes about themselves and not even thinking about Nebraska. Nebraska came to play and they beat the living crap out of them. I mean, I was happy about that because no one likes the Gators, but Gator fans. But still, I was like, I wasn't expecting that at all because I thought that Florida would just do it. Spurrier's boys just had a night when he had Ike Hilliard, and who's the other guy? I can't remember the other guy, but Rito Anthony, Ike Hilliard. They was killing it, and they got killed. All those players, man, that Steve Spurrier had, that were phenomenal players. That Nebraska squad. But did Nebraska have some top running backs? I mean, there was that one kid you should know, D'Angelo Evans. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to have been like the world changer. He gets that freaking groin injury. It pretty much ruins his whole career. But before that, they were talking about him dunking a basketball when he was 12 years old. But the dude's 5'8" at 19 years old. What's going on? What was he, 4'6", still dunking at 12?
Yeah, danger. He had a good freshman season, but you mentioned the injury slowed him down, and he just didn't reach the level that people expected. And plus, he was coming right behind Lawrence Phillips and Amon Green, and both of them went to the league. You know, those are tough shoes to fill.
But looking at his pedigree, he went to Wichita Collegiate High School in Kansas, and Barry Sanders coming from Kansas, you're always going to get that comparison just because of that. And he had the same stature, 5'9", 210 pounds, 205 pounds, somewhere in that area, and explosive. Whatever video you could get in your hands on back then, you saw it, and you saw that the talent was there. You can question whether Kansas has that talent, but believe it or not, Kansas football, high school-wise, is pretty damn good football, probably underrated if anything. And then he comes to Nebraska. You know, he was the number one running back coming out that year, goes to Nebraska, gets playing time as a true freshman. See, I wasn't on top of Nebraska because, you know, being in New York, how often are you going to get to see Nebraska outside of just see the national games? So those people who are insiders or people who keep up with them, they'll know what's going on and how, because I just realized he disappeared. I had to find out that it was a groin injury. So you as a Nebraska fan and other fans that keep up with that kind of thing, even without social media back then, you probably knew what it was. I thought he just disappeared.
So early in his freshman season, they went to Washington, and he had a pretty good game. He had a long run. I don't remember his numbers, but I was like, oh, yeah, because I subscribed to Huskers Illustrated, so I knew about all the incoming freshmen. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they were lying about D'Angelo.
5-star, that dude was legit.
He showed he was for real. But again, you know, injuries hampered his career.
Damn. Yeah, man. I hate when those types of injuries happen. And, you know, I don't know this conversation is going everywhere, but I guess it's just focused on football, period, and kind of doing a little nostalgic thing with some of these players. But with him in particular, I think, you know, I was expecting a lot from him. I think people, even back then, without all the social media, they were expecting something from him. And, you know, he did deliver early, he kind of gave a little leg and pulled it back, teasing the hell out of everybody. But then the injuries came along. And there was another running back just like him, even earlier than he was, and that was Marquette Smith, who came out of Lake Howell High School here in the state of Florida, Winter Park, Florida, Castleberry, wherever he's from. And he was the number one running back or number one offensive player because Florida State ended up getting him and Derrick Brooks, offensive player of the year, USA Today offensive player of the year, offensive defensive player of the year, player of the year as well, Derrick Brooks. They're coming out of Pensacola, Washington High School back then. And, you know, Derrick Brooks lived up to expectation. Marquette Smith, not necessarily another guy with leg problems, but then Warwick Dunn came in and kind of shut everybody down. And so the dude who didn't get as much attention, even though Warwick did get attention coming out of a Catholic high school down in New Orleans, all eyes were on Marquette Smith. But when you had Tiger McMillan there, but then Warwick Dunn comes in, true freshman, and it just takes over everybody. I mean, you know, he wanted the red shirt. Bobby Bottom saw him against the number ones. He said, bro, I can't redshirt you even at 155 pounds. I can't redshirt you, man. You got to be out there. And we saw why. I mean,
he was dangerous coming out of the backfield for that.
Was he? Ask Florida. Ask Florida about that when he caught that pass out of the backfield and just took it to the house. And I know years later they was asking him about that run. He was like, yeah, I remember to pick my heels up because I felt they were gaining on me. He said, where do you get that from? He said, Emmitt Smith. You got that from a Gator legend to beat this team. He said, yeah, man, I got it from Emmitt Smith. I got it from Emmitt Smith, picking your legs up so they wouldn't get you from behind.
Emmitt's another one I thought was special in college, and I was surprised he fell as much as he did.
Who?
Emmitt.
You know what? The reason why, because of the 40 time. He ran a 4.62, 4.61.
Yeah, but
they put too much stock into that 40 time.
I watched him and I saw the highlights. I was like, man, Emmitt's good.
Absolutely. I saw the highlights. What was it, 1988? So Andre Ware won that Heisman back then. No, actually Barry won it in 88. Andre Ware won it in 89. And so it was I think it was let me see, 88. Yeah, Barry won it in 88. But anyways, Andre Ware won it in 89, and Emmitt Smith, I remember him in the rankings because they have that little Heisman chart in the newspapers back then. It wasn't necessarily on TV all the time, and they had him, his numbers for the day and his numbers for the game, and they just kept keeping a till on it until the mid-season, late season. And I thought he was good. We didn't get to see, once again, a lot of games in New York. You get a chance to see a lot of Ohio State, maybe Syracuse, Army games, things like that. We saw a game of the week, Rutgers versus Temple. Come on, man. It's trash. We get Penn State games and Notre Dame games because they have a lot of Catholics in that northeastern corridor. So we didn't watch a lot of Southeastern Conference games. They did come on. I did see Alabama playing and Tennessee, that kind of thing. But most of those games were northeastern regional games or those national games. But either way, man, the way things are, well, as you might be able to hear, a lot of thunder and lightning in the background here. We got some storms coming toward the state of Florida, man. So whoever's listening right now,
I don't think it was thunder though.
Oh, because there's thunder right now, and it's really coming down. That's why I'm wondering with my internet connection here how that's going to go, because of course this is hurricane season, which goes from June 1st to November 30th. But the bulk of these hurricanes are typically in August, September, October, and I think it's Helen right now that's coming through. She's just down in the Caribbean, expected to miss Jacksonville, go to the Carolinas, but that's the way it goes here. You never know when the hell it's going to hit. Getting those outer bands is even bad. But anyways, man, now going into this season, which running backs do stand out? Because this is one of those few situations where running backs aren't really special. Ashton Jeanty just jumped up on,
college or pro?
No, college.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Man, you know how long it's been since I bought a Street Smith or...
Bro, well, it must be long. Street Smith doesn't even come out anymore.
Oh, see what I'm saying?
Bro,
I'm saying, like, when college football was coming out, I'd always get a magazine, and
that was always my spot right there. Street Smith was it. It was Street Smith first, then Athlon's, whether it was Big East or SEC, Athlon's or Lindy's. Lindy's is still among the best to me right now. But yeah, Street and Smith, you had to do it because you had that long list of honorable mentions after they talked about the All-Americans. They had like a bunch of dudes. I remember seeing Michael Vick as an honorable mention because Ronald Curry was the guy in Virginia that year. Ronald Curry was a hell of an athlete, top basketball and football player in the country, goes to North Carolina, doesn't have a great, I think, either one of them, but still got a shot and had a solid career with the Raiders as a wide receiver, though. So that just shows you how great his athleticism was. And as we know, Michael Vick, everyone knows Michael Vick now. But yeah, man, I remember that Street Smith magazine. You got it.
So speaking of running backs, on our all-time NFL starting offense, we didn't pick a fullback. We did talk about some, but one thing I thought of,
because I talked about Lorenzo Neal.
At some point, we might need short yardage formation. How about Jerome Bettis and we put him at fullback?
He might get pissed off and don't want to play fullback, but he was a fullback at Notre Dame. So yeah. He played. He was a team player.
So imagine Bettis,
who's going to stop the bus on the one?
Bettis and Peyton in the backfield. Either one could block for the other.
And that's true. And they can run the ball too. So you have a lot of options. You do a fake to somebody's on play action or whatever and still have somebody open. do a draw play or, whatever. You have two guys in the backfield. You can do a draw with either one. So if you had him in the shotgun. You know what?
So that would be my vote if we needed a fullback.
Yeah, exactly. If you need a fullback that can run the ball and can be called to block on it, because my other guy, if you're just needing that 1 yard, I have not seen anyone stop Kevin Mack on the 1 yard line. Not that I'm a Cleveland fan to sit there and watch, but no one has every time I saw a 4th and 1 with this guy, he was almost 5 yards deep in the end zone.
I hear you there. I take Bettis over Mack.
Oh, yeah, I would, because not everybody's going to be at the goal line. Maybe in the middle of the field, because Jerome could make it happen even 50 yards out. You know what I mean? So he had that ridiculous athleticism. Notre Dame's been putting out some solid running backs. I remember the Brooks brothers. You had Reggie Brooks, right?
Reggie Brooks.
What's his name? Reggie Brooks?
I can't remember. I know Ricky Waters came out of Notre Dame.
Oh, Ricky Waters, easily. Underrated, freaking rated, man. This guy, he's someone that should be talking about the Hall of Fame when somebody complaining. That dude, he was explosive. He caught out of the backfield. He had that high step like Roger Craig. Pretty damn good freaking player that doesn't get the credit he deserves. No one even talks about him. Maybe his family does at barbecues. No one talks about him here. I mean, I give him props.
We didn't even mention him on forgotten running backs or underrated running backs.
No, I think I did. I did mention, yeah, bro.
Oh, I don't remember.
But I gotta watch it again. I think, bro, because there's hardly any time that I don't say something about Ricky Waters when it comes down to almost any running back in the NFL. I almost always throw him out there because he has always been that fringe Hall of Famer that most likely won't get in, but has every argument to probably at least get consideration. But yeah, he's just, I like the guy. Jeremiah Love this year for Notre Dame, another running back. They consider him the number 1 running back coming into this season. We'll wait and see. Let's see what the Canes have for him down on in Coral Gables on August 31st. Or do the Canes pick up where they left off, giving up a bunch of yards on the ground?
I might have to hit Walgreens after the show, see what I can find over there.
Ooh, man, you know what? I'm about to say, depending on where you are, because if they're rabid college football fans, it's cleaned out. I went here to Publix because Brent Beard, the venerable Brent Beard, he said, hey, they're at Publix because I looked around and couldn't find them. So I went to Publix, gone. They had the NFL joint for fantasy football. Yeah. Everything else is gone. And I was like, holy crap. I'm going to have to order this joint on the freaking, off the internet. You know how much it costs over there. You get a freaking, a Lindy's, man, and it's like $11 now anyway, $12, somewhere around there. It goes that late in the game.
Man, speaking of, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show. We were talking before the show today, and I mentioned getting baseball cards, a pack of baseball cards for 25 cents.
Yep.
I went to True Value the other day. I needed some stuff. And while I'm waiting in line right there, they had baseball cards. $5.99. I'm like, fuck out of here. $5.99.
It doesn't even have gum.
Pack of baseball cards. Fuck. I was like, this is some bullshit.
I hate those times. I look back at those comic books we paid 25 cents for, and then 50 cents for, then 75 cents for. I don't even know how much they cost now, but I know they're costing a whole lot more than we paid as kids, anticipating the next comic book to come out, the next issue. And man, yeah, of course, times change, things change, the prices go up. They rarely go down. And it's just, man, baseball cards, man.
$6,
yeah, of course. $6 for baseball cards.
Not even including tax. It probably come out to like $6.25 or $6.30 for one pack of baseball cards. That's nuts.
Didn't someone get a Caitlin Clark card and they auctioned it off for like a couple $100,000? That was recent. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, it's going in the right direction. The WNBA.
Nah, ain't no way I'm buying no WNBA cards.
Well, whoever bought it,
I'm not fishing for no Caitlin Clark
card. I guess whoever bought it was their sole benefit or their sole reason for buying it, hoping they got one, and they got it.
Saying, I might one day buy a pack of baseball cards, but it won't be WNBA cards.
No, I'm not buying any WNBA cards. I don't care about a television deal. I don't care about transcendent players. That's just not what I do. I mean, I got a freaking jersey, so I can rock with that, and that's going to hang out around with me. As long as my Damon Stoudemire joint hung out with me since 1996. I still got that old school Damon Stoudemire jersey with the freaking Toronto Raptors. God, crazy. We worked at Modell's warehouse in the Bronx, and, people do their thing at the warehouse. my homeboy stole it from Modell's and sold it to me. We went to the same job, man. I got on a discount, whatever. And I still got that joint now, 1996.
That's funny.
David Stoudemire, man. I thought Salim Stoudemire from Arizona was going to do some things with his 3-point shooting, but never worked out. But Damon Stoudemire was a damn good, solid player for the time being. And speaking of basketball, the Celtics have been sold for over $6 billion.
Wow. To who?
God, one of these moguls, these media moguls. I forgot his name. I mean, I read about it and I just forgot his name. But you know, he's an Ivy League grad, and then he went to Wharton Business School, so he doubled up. And you go to Wharton, is one of the best schools in the entire world, business wise. So whether you got clout or not, man, you go to Wharton, this is not, influence doesn't help you get through Wharton. Just put it that way. So your family has billionaires. You're not passing Wharton because your family has billions. It's just not one of those schools. Other schools, yeah, he's getting through because of legacy. Nope, you're getting through because of know-how. If you don't get through, because you can't get through. That's it. But anyway, he got through, and the price he has 51%. So by 2028, his share goes up, and he may end up paying worth $7.3 billion. So it's $6 billion and change now. So it may go up to $7.3 billion by the time it's said and done in 2028 when more shares go his way. And now it's the record because Matt Ishbia had the second most when he bought the Phoenix Suns, and we already know what wholesale mortgages that he works for. American Wholesale Mortgages. Can't remember the name of it. It's crazy. Another story for another day. How I can't remember the complete name, but either way, these NBA teams are insane. And the crazy part about it, the Knicks are still valued more than what the Boston Celtics are, and they hadn't won a damn thing in how long? The Boston Celtics, all these damn championships, not the most recent, but recently winning a championship, going to the playoffs, getting deep in the playoffs, and they're whoever says just $6 billion. Yeah, right. Yeah, but the numbers are just going up. The Phoenix Suns setting the bar at $4 billion, lets you know that everybody else is going to kind of surpass it. But anyway, I want to do do they sell the Lakers just because Boston was sold? I doubt that. People were just so caught up on powers like Jerry Jones is never, ever, ever.
I thought she already sold the Lakers.
Did she sell part of the Lakers or the entire Lakers? Or the majority stake she sold?
I forgot the specifics of it, but Jeannie Buss did sell. I just don't remember to who.
Well, we try to find out now. Shoot. Let me see. The Los Angeles Lakers are being sold.
The Dodgers people?
To Mark Walker. Yeah. You know what? I did hear that. What the hell? See?
So the Celtics we'll find out. Lakers sold, so we'll sell too.
A $10 billion valuation. Whew. Man.
Did you see that video of LeBron working out? He was doing
I hadn't seen it.
Like deadlifts. The weights had 5 on the end of it. So
5 what, plates?
It had the number 5. So he had 3 on each side, and there was no bend to the bar. He looked like he was struggling, but it looked like it could have been a fake struggle. And people were like, "Man, that motherfucker's lifting 30 pounds."
Check his diaper.
You can see the big 5 on the side. Was it a 5-pound dumbbell? Dude, what you doing, LeBron? Come on, man.
Oh man, come on, man. People die to get it on his ass, man. Every little thing he does, he knows it.
A couple weeks back, Luka looks like he's in a lot of shape, a lot better shape.
He looks pretty damn.
I'm like, LeBron got him on his regimen.
We talk about the needle, him and the Canelo, the steaks and the chickens and all that other stuff.
But I mean, like 6 or 7 dudes out of Canelo's camp have been popped. So what's that getting popped?
Oh my God, man, that sucks, man.
It ain't no fucking accident.
I know. I rock with Canelo, man. I mean, look, he's getting old in the tooth. I'm still going to take Crawford, but I know sometimes I wonder why people always on Canelo's ass. But then, doing the things he's done, not giving Benavidez a shot. He says I could fight who I want to fight now, and then to a degree, I think he's correct, man. He's fought every freaking body. But the way boxing goes, you have to pass that brutal torch.
When there's that one guy out there and you fight everybody else but that one guy,
that's a bad look. That's why I thought he would fight, because I always thought he was that guy.
Floyd fought Manny. It took him 5-6 years, but he eventually fought him.
Yeah, but Canelo was that guy I always thought that had so much freaking pride that he just couldn't let it fly. He would say, I don't want to fight, but you keep talking about how he's scared. He just gets mental about it and says, you know what? Let me prove these fools wrong.
Oh, but like other guys that talk shit about him, he eventually fought him. Well, Benavidez been talking shit
for a long time too. Benavidez has gone up and still talk nonsense, and he has to give him the chance. Did he give him one of these propositions like some of these boxers do? If you beat this guy, then I'll fight you. I don't think he said that yet.
No, I don't think he said that. I think he said 200 million and he'll fight him.
Oh, yeah, 200 million. You know what? With Turkey, man, with Bud, because it's such an interesting fight, even though most people expect Bud to lose, at least people who allegedly know what they're talking about.
If Bud beats Canelo and says, fuck it, I'm going to fight Benavidez, man, that would be
bad.
Fireworks, dude.
Bro, it'd be such fireworks, and it would just make Canelo look so freaking bad.
I mean, even if Bud got, I don't think Benavidez has the one punch power like that. But
he's a big dude that's consistent.
Right. He can accumulate a lot of punishment.
Yes, he can.
Even if Benavidez stops Bud, but Bud's tagging him and Bud's gonna do his thing. Hey, you're gonna just have to tip your hat to Bud, man. I mean,
you know what? I just saw a video yesterday with someone commenting on Bud and saying that if a Mexican had that same resume he had in the last 5 fights, we were talking nonsense about him. He hasn't done anything. And I was like, damn, here we go again, man. I was like, they said the reason why he's getting those props is because he's black. He's still not getting props, though. There's so many people out there who still are not giving him props for what he's done.
Before the Spence fight, he was the underdog. After he beat the shit out of him, it was the car accident.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Even though Spence fought Ugas and people were saying he's back, nothing's wrong, no ill effects. Then when Bud gives him the beats, see the car accident. We saw him sliding against Ugas. The usual boxing shenanigans and bull crap. That's what happens in boxing. That's why I try not to engage with, especially on these sites or going to YouTube channels and you see the comments, these absolute casuals who call other people casuals, and you just look at what they're saying and you know that they're casual. And I always say there are fans of boxing and there are boxing fans, and there's a difference between the two. There are fans of boxing. That means when your boy loses, you don't like it, but you deal with it and say, damn, that dude just beat my guy. When you're a boxing fan, you're the fan of a boxer, like Mike Tyson fans. When he loses, well, he's undefeated because of this. It's the long count. It's Don King. It's Robin Givens. It's everybody. That's a boxing fan.
I saw a clip of Joe Rogan talking about Tyson, saying, when he was coming up, he was an animal. He was unbeatable. But that was because it was his competition.
They were awful, like they're supposed to have been, though.
Competition or lack thereof. I mean, he had some good wins. He beat the shit out of Frazier. He knocked Terrell Biggs out.
But Terrell Biggs was already on
those
coke
were decent fighters, but you wouldn't ever say Marvis Frazier was a great fighter. You wouldn't say Terrell Biggs was a great fighter in the pros. Who did Tyson ever beat that was great?
And let's not forget,
not Burbick. Holmes was no longer great. Who was great that he beat?
No one. And we know that. I mean, people who are objective, they know that already. The problem is you have these unobjective, typical boxing fans because they're a fan of a particular fighter who can't look past anything. For all it's worth, go back to when he fought James Quick Tillis. James Quick Tillis was a 209 pounds. Mike couldn't knock him out. So-called prime Mike. People pick and choose when they want to call him a prime fighter. He couldn't knock him out. In fact, that decision was, it was a little bit in limbo at the end of the fight. There was some people who thought ringside that Mike lost that fight, even though he did knock Quick Tillis down. He knocked him down, and I forgot which round he knocked him down in, but some of these ringside observers was like, hey, that fight was a little too close for comfort for a guy we're talking about being as great as he is. And Mike was explosive. There was no doubt about it. He was fast. He was explosive. He was ferocious because of it. But then you get the Mike Tyson fanboys who tell you about how in his prime he was unbeatable when Buster Douglas beat him in his prime. But then you hear about Bobby Brown, then you hear about the long count, then you hear about Kevin Rooney not being there and all this other nonsense, when just accept it for what it is. A good man, a good big man beats a good little man almost every time. And it doesn't change because it's Mike. A good big man, which Buster Douglas was when everything worked his way, because he's always had the athleticism. He's always had some damn good skills. It was his heart that was questioned, because even in that August fight that he had against Tony Tucker for that vacant IBF title, he was winning until he quit and got knocked out in the 10th. So he always had that talent. And because of his mother passing, all of that came together for that one night, if not one night only. And he gave Mike the beats. And people talk about, well, because Mike had all this going on, and he did. But most boxing fighters, in their life have this tumultuous life. That's what makes them who they are. But the bottom line also is, what more could Mike have done at his best without problems against that version of Buster that night that would have changed the outcome? I don't think anything. Because when a 6'4" guy who knows how to use his jab, 81-inch reach, fights a 5'10", 5'11" fighter, 72-inch reach, well, you're going to have problems.
What I would say is, if he hadn't fired Rooney, and if he had continued training and listening to Rooney, being sharp, because honestly, he was not in the best of shape.
No, he wasn't.
Boston. But if his skills were already deteriorating because he wasn't doing the things that he was taught, and then the night of the fight, if they had actual inswell, if the fucking corner knew what they were doing.
The condom on his eye.
If he had, and it wouldn't have been Teddy Atlas, but somebody in there motivating him. If he had Angelo Dundee, you're blowing it, son. You're blowing it.
He had Jay Bright and Aaron Snow.
Yes, something. Tell him, hey, you got to slip the jab. You're eating too many jabs. He's setting you up for the right hand. Avoid the right hand. Look out for the uppercut. They're not doing anything. They got the glove filled with water, putting it on his eye. I mean, that corner was so incompetent. So Mike Tyson at his best with the good corner could have been different, I think. I'm not going to say he would have won. I'm thinking he would have at least given himself a better shot.
Because my contention is that Buster Douglas that night only, inspired by his mother and having those skills already, being at his height, natural 6'4", 81-inch reach, an educated jab, which he was known for. It's just that when the jab didn't work after a while, he would give up, and things didn't go his way, he would give up. And I'm just thinking the jab is the punch that neutralizes any fighter, especially a fighter that you have the advantages over in height and reach. So Mike Tyson would have been a double M bag, even if he would have done his peekaboo style against a Buster Douglas doing it that night. He would have gotten caught, and he would have charged harder. Remember, Mike has always, at his best and at his worst, had problems getting tied up by bigger fighters, and most of the fighters were bigger than him. Buster Douglas did a lot of that, but what Buster Douglas also did was tie him up and bully him, pushed him away when he felt like it, created that distance, and double jabbed and triple jabbed again and dropped the right hand, and then got right out of the way because he did have great footwork. Buster Douglas didn't have good footwork. He had great footwork. So I'm thinking, okay, Mike at his best. Mike's feet from the waist down, faster than probably any heavyweight ever. A jab breaks that rhythm. And that's what Buster had that night. So whatever he does, the jab is going to break the rhythm. That 81-inch jab, going to break the rhythm. And we've seen it might get broken by the rhythm by fighters that were lesser stature-wise, talent-wise than Buster.
I just think Mike would have been committed more to putting in work. He would have put in more body shots.
But you have to get in close for that.
Mike could slip the jab. He knew how to get inside. And as determined as Buster was mentally, man, that side starts hurting. It draws your energy. I mean, I think Mike has a way better shot.
Man, he has a better shot to be more competitive, in my opinion, because Buster on his toes, it was like he wasn't even getting tired. He would stay on his toes. He would drop that right hand.
Ali, though.
For that night, but for that one night, if it took that outside influence of his mother passing
I'm just
away.
saying, Tyson at that point lacked the commitment to do what he needed to do to win.
But my point is that regardless of the best Mike Tyson could not have done much better against that version of Buster Douglas. The version that fought Evander Holyfield, yeah. But that particular, I just don't see what he could have done. What more? Okay, he has to get inside. I've already talked about how he gets tied up inside against lesser fighters. Tony Tucker tied him up. James Bone Crusher Smith tied him up the entire freaking fight. So let alone a guy who's tying you up and knows how to use that jab.
James Bone Crusher Smith is the guy who probably inspired Ruiz, John Ruiz.
And how's that?
By utilizing the come here and let me hold you tactic.
Oh, John. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking about Andy Ruiz. No, John Ruiz. Oh God, John Ruiz is awful. I used to hate watching that guy fight. Him and Henry Akuwande, the one that fought Lennox Lewis, those two should have had a dance off, a hug off, or something. Those two are the worst. They were octopus inside the damn ring. But yeah, man, I'll just leave with this and think that I've always thought that I don't think at least that night any version of Mike would have beaten that Buster Douglas. More competitive than he was, yeah, but beaten, no, absolutely no way. And I know the long count and all that stuff. Come on, man. Referees they use a 10 count, not 10 seconds. If it was that big, about 10 seconds, they would have a stopwatch instead of just talking about it orally. So
you don't have to tell me.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what the Tyson fanboys always come up with. You know, he should have never won that fight anyway. You know, a count of 10. A count of 10 is not going to be 10 seconds. A count of 10 could be even 13 seconds. And by the way, Buster could have gotten up at any time. But as you're taught in the gym, when you're knocked down, just take as much time as you can up until 8 or 9, then get up before 10. As long as you're up before 10, you're good. We realized when he went down early, he pounded the canvas because he was pissed off that he lapsed mentally and got caught with a shot after fighting almost a flawless fight beforehand. So he was clear in the head. Then he picks up the referee's count, and then you get the other story about the ref just started his own count. And I'm like, if you claim you're a boxing fan, you know the ref picks up the count of the timekeeper because the ref has to be concerned about the fighter that's not knocked down, directing him to the neutral corner. So he turns his back. So when he comes back, he looks at the timekeeper, and the timekeeper's standing up, sometimes even with the microphone, showing you where he is. So you pick it up at 6 if he's at 6. You don't all of a sudden do all this, take him to the neutral corner, look at the timekeeper, then start with 1. Now you get him to do 20 seconds. So you start with the timekeeper's pickup and what you pick up from the timekeeper. And I'm surprised that some people acting like they don't know that part, but anyways,
anybody who does not already know that is not a boxing.
You know what? I just mentioned that because there's a guy in a group that I was just in last week that said exactly that. Oh no, the ref just counts. I was like, he picks up the count from the timekeeper. No, he just counted. He didn't look at the timekeeper. Okay, man. And then other people just kind of said, yeah, that's true. And he's still on his own thing. So probably just another Tyson fan. So he can't be convinced.
It was probably Joe Rogan.
Joe, right? You know, some of these people, no one's exempt from being a nut hugger or just having your favorite guy. You know, even with Muhammad Ali, I'm still saying, even though I know he pretty much lost against Ken Norton in the third fight at Yankee Stadium in 76, I still, hey, you know, it never happened. They had 3 fights, but that one never happened. He just got to win. That's all we look at.
Oh, so check this out right quick. I was listening to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's book on Spotify, and he was talking about Muhammad Ali in the draft situation, and he talked about how, you know, kids in college were exempt from the draft, and he was in college. And then I got the image of him as a soldier in Vietnam trying to walk through the jungle. Man, get your big ass down! They're gonna see us. Like there's no way he would have been on the front line. They would have found something for him to do. He'd have been cooking or something, man. They didn't put him out there. You see his ass from a mile away. Oh, look at that big motherfucker! Here they come.
For real, man. You know, I made a video years ago about Muhammad Ali and what, you know, standing up for what he has stood up for. And I know there were people who, even to this day, they call him a draft dodge and all that other nonsense. And they don't want to look at the overall story. They want to only look at what they want to hold on to that keeps them pissed off. And this guy, as great as he was as a boxer, he wasn't as great as a student in high school. He was in the bottom quarter of his graduating class. And he would even say himself, I always said I was the greatest, not the smartest. And he did flunk the test years ago. They actually changed the standard, and now he qualified. And that's why he was talking about that during the proceedings, saying, I'm not any wiser. You didn't even give me another chance to see if I was even wiser than I was before. You just changed the standard, and now me and a whole bunch of other people qualified. And he just, stood for that. So there was more behind it. But hey, look at it. In 1971, June, he was completely found not guilty by a conservative Supreme Court, 8-0, not 9, because Thurgood Marshall, he recused himself. So you would have had 9-0. Thurgood Marshall, obviously the first Black Supreme Court justice, recused himself, and 8 other justices, conservative justices, came up with an 8-0 verdict saying he was in the right. Should have sued the hell out of him, but whatever. At least we know history-wise it matches up. So anyway, with that, we can just bail on out, because now it's Thursday or Monday. Let's see. We're always looking to see what's going to happen over the weekend so that we may be able to have something to talk about on a Monday. But it looks like things just happen any damn way, organically. Things you're not even expecting to happen. They just happen. So let's see what Monday has to bring. And until then, deuces.